Hi mate, what's your name, sorry?
Andy.
Andy, I'm Dale. Andy, nice to meet you, man. Thanks for speaking to me. I'm just asking students, what I'm doing is trying to highlight the reasoning processes behind things that people take to be true and why they take them to be true. Would you be interested in up for me questioning maybe that on you? What I'm questioning, mate, is you've probably heard about this, but please don't have any preconceived ideas about who you think I may be. Have you ever heard of people questioning the shape of the earth?
Yeah.
Can I ask you what your stance on that is?
It's a sphere.
It's a sphere. Can I then go further into your reasoning processes and ask you to maybe offer up your reasoning processes for why you would assert that it was a sphere? This is what I'm trying to capture.
It's just so obvious, because just everything. If you look at the currents of the oceans, gravity, everything. It'd be impossible for it to be. Are
these things that you fully understand, or are these things that you've heard through your education?
Yeah.
So like gravity, what is that?
Well, not gravity, but if I think of currents of and ocean circulation. I mean, I used to know about that stuff, and that used to be so obviously. The Earth being a sphere was intrinsic to that. You can.
What's also intrinsic to water is that it has a set characteristic that I can use a scientific method to observe, make predictions, and then utilise that knowledge and apply it. Now, a liquid or a water in this case, will take the shape of its container, and the surface will always form a horizontal plane.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? So water has no form. It will take the shape of its container. The surface always finds the equilibrium and forms a horizontal surface. So it's equal in elevation in any given point on that body of water. Would you agree with that?
Only if it's in a container. I mean, obviously there's currents in the earth, so...
Yeah, if there's motion, but the body as a whole, it finds its equilibrium. You may have waves upon the surface, you may have movement underneath, but the body as a whole would be equal in elevation at any given point. you don't want to.
I was on the last night. I just got my results back.
So put you under pressure. Look, the difficulty is because some of these things threaten belief structures in people.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to highlight. So what I'm saying to you about water, for me, is a fact. It is a demonstrable fact of my reality. I can postulate that to you. You can then go away and verify it or falsify it for yourself. And check and see, but we know because we apply it in levelling, we build canals, we build structures based on the principles that water will always find its level. Now this image that I'm seeing on my TV screen is defying the physicality of my reality. So for you, would you ignore the physicality of your direct experience in favour of the image, or would you think it would be more intellectually honest to question the validity of this image as it's defying physical reality?
No, because even you look at images from space, and the Earth is just obviously it's just a sphere.
So would you agree then that you put faith that these are all true, that these people are actually achieving what they're achieving, and the image that they're depicted to you is factually correct?
Yeah.
But you do agree that it's faith-based because you can't experience that for yourself?
No, because I believe the satellites are launched and then...
But you're saying that you believe. You believe.
Yeah, and I think they go into the space and then you can see
the vacuum.
Yeah,
space vacuum.
You see Earth from space. And
that's another claim that they make that defies physical reality, though. In order for a high pressure system to coexist next to a low pressure system or a vacuum, I would have to form a membrane. There would have to be a solid separation between the both of those, because in physical reality, high pressure will always move into the lower pressure region. But they're trying to tell us we live in a pressurised environment adjacent to a vacuum without any solid separation, and the gas just remains around this oblate spheroid. So for me, again, what they're telling me and what my physical reality tells me are two different things, and I think there's a huge contradiction that has to be looked at. So my main point of this is just to try and highlight from students and regular people the reason why they believe what they believe, and to maybe trigger the thought of just giving it a wee bit of critical thinking and have a look into it, so that then you would know for yourself. The other aspect of this, if I don't know if you would agree, is that if it's objectively true and it's scientific, it should be open to inquiry. Would you agree to that? If something's the truth, it should fear no investigation.
It should be investigated if it's true. I think everything's open to investigation.
Yeah, so it should never. If I was to question this and I was being met by propaganda and ridicule, you would start to think something's not quite right here, would you not? Just on a personal level, your attitude, would you ever ridicule somebody for questioning something that was supposed to be true?
Some things, yeah.
Some things?
Yeah, maybe democracy, stuff like that.
Right, so political sciences and social sciences and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to stick more to the
You're thinking
objective
of, like,
sciences,
science. Yeah.
you know, practicality, practical references and stuff like that. So, you know, somebody makes a claim to me, pink unicorns exist, I expect to be able to see the pink unicorn.
Yeah.
I want to be able to touch it, measure it, quantify it, and if I can't do that, I have to think that these people are propagating pseudoscience and bullshit. So that's the problem I find with this globular earth claim.
Yeah.
It's no holding up to scrutiny. I can't back it by demonstration of practical physics. It has a theoretical explanation behind it.
Yeah, I don't know. I believe that it's a sphere because we've gone into space and we've seen it from space. But
yeah, but that's what I was.
I mean, I can see why. Fair enough, you have a point of view.
Yeah.
People should be allowed to have point of views about anything
and question it. But my main point was just to highlight that you do place faith. You take it on an assumption that it's true, and that you're quite happy with that. You're quite happy to go on with your life and not really give it any other thought. Does it really bother you?
Doesn't really bother me.
No. Yeah. So if there's something else beyond, maybe, would that not intrigue you? If there was more to this reality?
I just don't think there is.
No.
And fair play if you think there is, that's fair enough.
Right. Mate, I really appreciate you talking to me. Thank you very much. Thanks, buddy. Cheers. Hi, are you okay?
She can't speak, so you can video me.
Yeah, thank you very much for stopping to speak to me.
No problem.
I'm asking people their reasoning processes behind certain things that they take to be true.
Sure.
But before I ask the initial question, can I maybe lay a first principle and see if you agree with me? Would you throw out your direct common sense experience of your reality in favour of an image that you would see on the TV screen? Or would you commit to your common sense, measurable, direct experience of reality?
I think I would like to feel that I'd commit to my measurable experience of reality.
And if you had invested maybe a blind kind of faith in something that you thought to be true, and I highlighted some contradictions about observed reality, would you then maybe question the reasons for why you would be believing in such a thing?
Yeah, I might.
So you may have heard about this, and I don't want you to come up with any assumptions about what I'm saying. Do you believe the Earth to be an oblate spheroid?
I suppose I do, yes.
Can I ask you your reasoning processes for why you say that?
I suppose you know there's enough reality in terms of images and so on that you know.
An image.
An image.
So if I showed you an image of me levitating on the TV screen, you would. I'm not levitating. I'm just tall.
Well, you know, there's more to it than just. I suppose there's the received wisdom that it's a spheroid, and there's the fact that there's images that it's a spheroid. I don't know.
So
I've never really given it an awful lot of thought.
So if I could clarify that, then you've just assumed that what you were told and depicted was true.
Up to that point. That point, and I suppose the other side of the coin is that you need sufficient contradictory evidence to persuade me otherwise.
Could I offer you one, maybe?
Go on then.
It's a well-known fact that a liquid finds its level, that it will take the shape of its container, and the surface will always form a horizontal plane, regardless of scale. Would you say that was true?
I suppose so. You're going to try and get me to agree that the world's flat.
Well, I'm not trying to get you to agree. I'm just trying to highlight the reasons why people believe in.
I don't know, and I can't explain the physics of that to you.
Yeah. So, see, this is a problem for me. Reality shows me what the physics are, and this image has a description of a theoretical physics to explain it, but it contradicts observed reality.
I suppose that in that sense, but there's other observed realities in the fact that, you know, they're fairly clear images that the world is a spherical thing, so I think you could probably, if you pardon the expression, go round and round in circles trying to argue.
Have you ever really looked closely at these images they show you?
Not really, no.
For me, they're not an actual photograph, they're a composite, and they tell you such. They say that they can't get an actual photograph of the full thing, so they...
If that's your belief that you think the world's round. No, we have to go.
Sorry, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself. All right.
Aye, okay.
Thank you. Have a think about it. Cheers, my man. Hi, sir. Thanks for speaking to me. What's your name? Sorry.
I'm Grant.
Grant. I'm Dale. Grant. Thanks for doing. I'm just asking people. What I'm trying to get is question people on their reasoning processes for why they take certain things to be true. Would you be up for me questioning your reasoning processes in regards to a particular topic? So first, before I ask you the questions, I just want to establish some first principles. Would you accept an image on your TV screen over your direct experience of measured practical reality, regardless of the consensus opinion about what they're actually seeing on a TV screen?
I think it depends on certain circumstances.
Depends what it is. So would you negate your own direct experience of measured reality if somebody was showing you an image on a TV?
Probably not.
So the question then I'll ask you if you accept and you agree to that. I go with the scientific method. I'll go with practicality, measurable, testable, repeatable. Do you believe that you live on the exterior of an oblate spheroid?
Yes.
Can I ask you, I just want to question your reasoning processes then as to why you believe that, if you could offer up your reasoning process?
It's not that I've seen direct evidence, it's just that I've not seen direct evidence against that fact.
So if somebody...
And I know that you can't prove a negative,
yeah,
but I believe it's the most likely possibility.
Based on what you were told?
Yeah, basically, yes.
So that's honestly what I'm looking for. That's what I'm trying to capture, because the majority of people that I speak to about this, that is the response. And it was the same for me when I took it for granted, that I just believed it implicitly that was the case. So if I go back to what I said about an image, so for me, if an image is contradicting the facts of my reality, I have to question this image that I'm seeing on the TV. So the very first thing that I'll look at is liquids, fluid mechanics, how a liquid actually behaves. Now, the description of a fluid or a liquid is that it will take the shape of its container and the surface will always form a horizontal plateau. Would you agree with that that's your experience?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You would? So right there and then there's a problem for me, because this globular oblate sphere Earth image that I'm seeing is depicting large bodies of standing water as convex. Rivers, oceans, lakes, they're convexing. But that's not what reality's telling me. Would you think there's enough just in that one point to start maybe questioning?
No.
No?
No.
You're quite happy to just blindly go with what they're telling you and believe in it?
Not blindly.
But if I asked you again for a reason, if you could give me a scientific reason, what if I says to you
Well, what about projectiles?
What about them?
Well, they'll not fall at the same rate. If they're going further around the Earth, they'll fall slower because the Earth is moving away from it.
So that's what they'll term as a Coriolis effect. So there's a problem with that, because they're going to cherry pick. So
I'm not wanting to get into a debate with you, because you've obviously got your facts right, and I'm just...
But just to point out the absurdity of that quickly, if a helicopter hovers above the Earth, would you expect the Earth to spin by underneath it?
Well, no, but if a bee's in your car, it's not going to hit the back window, is it?
But that's in an enclosed system. They're not claiming an enclosed system. They're claiming it's an open system.
I'm not too sure about that.
Well, it's
atmosphere's an enclosed system, is it not?
But they'll say and this is another problem, they'll say there's no barrier between a vacuum and a pressurised environment. Again, in physics, we know that, for two pressure systems to coexist, they need to be solidly separated. The high pressure will go to the low pressure region. But that's a contradiction in this model that they're depicting to me about my Earth.
Well, I don't know about that sort of stuff.
No. Do you know something that's interesting that you've never ever really questioned or thought about it? Do you think it's important for people to question these things pretty much is what I would get to the point of, rather than taking things for granted?
Sometimes yes, but if you're going to question everything, you're going to be wasting your time. I mean, even what's the difference? If we live on a round Earth or a flat Earth, what's the difference? Well, we're still living here, just
Exactly. Well, I think there's a point to that we are still living and we've got to deal with the day-to-day life. But there's a different cosmology running that's given us an existential narrative of who we are and where we are and blah blah blah. And if that's wrong, I think that would be concerning to me. As a thinker, it would be concerning to me.
I don't know, maybe I'm just smaller minded than you. I think it doesn't matter what the facts are, it doesn't affect me.
No.
At this point in my life, it doesn't affect me.
But you would be intellectually honest enough to agree that you don't really know because you've never looked into it in depth, and that you have a faith that what you're being taught is actually true and what you're being shown is actually true.
Yeah, but it's
But it's within your power to actually find that out. Because science is, if it's something real and it's practical, you should be able to demonstrate it yourself. Would you agree with that?
To a certain point, because you kind of, you know, if string theory is true, well,
that's a mathematical theory.
Average person is going to be able to demonstrate.
But string theory is a concept. It's an abstract theory. It's not something that you can show me. So there's a difference between.
To the advanced theories, not everyone's going to spend a life doing every single thing to make sure that everything is as we've been told.
But as a practical human being, real mathematics is just a language. You can make abstract theories about things that make sense mathematically, but it's got to match to my reality. If me and you are two men trying to prove something to each other, I should be able to demonstrate it to you. You couldn't take anything that I'm saying as being valid, could you?
No, not really.
No, well that's what I go for. So when they're telling me there's certain behaviours of substances in my reality that behave in a way that they say matches this image, but when I test them and I find they don't match it...
That's on a larger scale. It'll still happen on the small scale, but it's not observable.
So if it's not real, it's no science then, is it?
No, that's not true.
Well, if it's not observable and it's not measurable, it's not scientific.
Well, it would be measurable, but you've not got the proper equipment, do you?
So
you're just looking at it with your eye.
With my eye, no, I can make a scientific prediction that water finds its level. I can then test that prediction and then I can utilise it and put it into practice.
To a certain accuracy.
To what kind of accuracy though? Well, if I ask you what level meant...
small accuracy if you're doing it in a small dish.
What about a canal?
A canal's still relatively small compared to a lake or an ocean.
Hundreds of miles long. Would you say Loch Lomond was bending? Would you say there's a...
No, because the Earth is so large that the curvature is relatively small, but...
Well, Loch Lomond down there is 28 miles long. The curvature calculator for that is hundreds of feet. So from the point that you stand at the one tip, there should be a curve of hundreds of feet to the other point. Have you been to Loch Lomond? No. Have you ever witnessed curvature anywhere?
I mean, no.
No?
Well, I mean, you can't see, if you go to a beach, you can't see the other side of the beach, can you? You just see water and then it ends at some point.
So you notice that thing, would you call that straight line that you see?
The horizon.
Right, and it's a straight line?
Yeah, from where you're standing.
From where you're standing?
Yes.
But it's coming up to meet your eye level, innit? If you look straight out, it meets your eye level.
Yeah.
Now in the globular Earth they'll say that's the start of the obstruction of the Earth, right? But as you elevate up from that point, see that straight line, it rises with you, even if you're on an aeroplane.
But it'll be further away.
Yeah, but it's still at your eye level.
The point that you're seeing, you'll be able to see further round.
If me and you were standing on a hill, right, and we says, right, there's where it's starting to curve, and we raised up, you would be looking down at the curve.
Mate, you're not going to change my mind.
I'm not trying to.
Change your mind.
I'm not trying to.
I've got to get on my
No worries, listen, but please understand, I wasn't here to try and change your mind.
Yeah.
The thing was to capture the reasoning processes and the reasons why people believe what they believe in, and that was purely what I'm trying to capture, not to have a backwards and forwards way. It's just kind of ended up like that, but that was never my intention.
I think that's me, that's kind of my personality.
But you do find that a wee bit that's been threatened, your kind of belief maybe that it is being threatened by me questioning it, so you feel you have to...
Not really.
No?
No. It's more just that I think I try and make you prove your point of view rather than defending my own point of view.
Well, if the affirmed claims a globe, I expect it to be able to prove itself, and there's no measurable curvature, there's no proof of motion, there's none of these things.
I mean, I've not done my research.
Well, that's what I wanted to highlight. So if you've not done your research, but you want to believe in it, that would make you kind of religious? No?
I wouldn't say that.
Putting faith in something to be true that you've never checked?
I would say it's the same kind of faith, but I wouldn't say that makes me religious.
No, well, it's faith, isn't it? It's kind of blind faith, because you've not looked at it.
Faith in other people
exactly.
that have looked at it.
And do you think people have got a propensity to tell lies?
Some people, yeah.
Some people have. What about governments?
I think that some people are smart enough that aren't they governments or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you seem like a fairly smart guy yourself.
Yeah.
If you believe in this, I'm sure other smart guys believe in it, and they could look into this.
Yeah.
And I've not seen any proof that.
See, I would try and eradicate belief. What I'm looking for is just an honest inquiry. But what we're being met by is like propaganda and ridicule just for dare questioning. And that's not a scientific approach for me. If it's science, it should hold up to scrutiny, and there shouldn't be any propaganda attached to it. You know, we should be freely allowed to explore scientific inquiry. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, but I say that your points apply to your own theories as well.
Right.
That it should stand up to scrutiny.
Of course.
It doesn't
Of
really,
course.
does it?
So it's not a personal thing, and propaganda shouldn't be coming into it. You know, we shouldn't be getting ridicule or attacks on persons, any of these things.
Oh no, definitely not.
It's an objective inquiry that should be open to scrutiny, regardless of who's asking the questions. And you would agree with that?
Yes.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Mate, I really appreciate you stopping to spend the time and speak to me. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you, buddy. You too. Sorry, mate, what's your name?
Ewan,
I'm Dale. Ewan, thank you for speaking to me, Ewan. I'm asking people, pretty much students, what I'm trying to highlight is the reasoning processes for why people believe things to be true about the world in general. What I'm just asking right off the bat here is, Ewan, do you believe, when I ask you this, I don't want you to make any assumptions about who I am and maybe become defensive about this. Do you believe the world to be an oblate spheroid?
I don't know what that means.
The world, the shows on the TV, the shows and depict the Earth as a round ball.
Okay.
Do you accept that as being factually correct?
Sure.
Can I ask you then your reasoning processes why you accept it to be true?
I guess just visually, and then if that's backed up with science or something like that, or.
So that's the point that I'm trying to highlight.
Yeah.
So you would say that you have faith in the image and you have faith in the explanations that have been offered?
I think so.
Yep.
I would take that more into consideration than just making things up on my own.
Yeah, but have you got any experiences of your own that you could highlight to me that would suggest that the Earth is indeed a sphere?
No, to be honest, no. So it is.
So it is on faith based, yeah. That's excellent. That's what I'm looking for, is that honest response. That's what I find more often than not, is that people don't really understand why they believe what they believe because they're seeing the image on the TV screen. Now here's the thing, would you go with your direct experience of measured reality over the image, or would you just go with the image and the explanations and throw out your experience of reality?
If I were personally to experience being able to prove something, then I would go with my own
proof, your instinct.
Everything else, but I would take theirs into consideration.
Can I offer you one point maybe then?
No, I think I'm going to head now.
Are you going to head? Okay, no worries, my man. I appreciate just getting that honest response from you anyway. But would you consider having a look at it just to make sure that what you have belief in is actually true and holds up to scrutiny? Proper scientific method? Have a wee look at it and just question it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for
speaking to me, sir. What's your name?
My name's Lewis.
Lewis, I'm Dale. Thank you, Lewis, for speaking to me. What I'm asking people before I get to the initial question is, I'm looking to question people's reasoning processes behind why they take things to be true. Would you be up for me questioning some of your reasoning processes?
Yeah.
First and foremost, would you accept an image on your TV screen over your direct experience of reality? Say an image on the TV screen was contradicting your direct experience of reality, but there was a consensus belief in a particular image. Would you be entitled to, more inclined to question the image?
Oh, yeah. I'd question the image on the TV.
If it was contradicting your experience of reality. The main question then, do you believe the Earth's an oblate spheroid?
Well, God only knows, truly. And actually, literally, well, no, I'm not a Christian, but I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's the best theory we've got at the moment.
Can I question your reasoning then?
Of course you can.
So why would you then think it is the best theory? Have you experienced any of that? Is there anything about reality that would tell you that it's an oblate spheroid?
Well, just when you're on planes and you look out the window and it's all a bit curved, or when you're on the top of a hill and it's.
And do you think you're seeing a curve?
Yeah, I think I do.
Well, the mainstream narrative says that it's impossible for you to be seeing a curve at that height. You have to be beyond 80,000 feet before you'll start to see a curve. So if you're looking through a curved window, there may be an effect happening there. But when you're looking out of an aeroplane window, I take it you've flown a few times.
I mean, once or twice.
When you see the horizon, again, if I asked you for a description of the horizon, how would you describe it?
Like bluish. And
would you say a straight line?
I'd say straight, but like curved at the very edges.
Curved? Is that because you think it's there, or you know that it's there?
No, I've seen the curve. I've seen the curve. I believe.
You believe?
I believe.
Well, would it shock you if I said there is no scientific measurement that shows curvature?
I mean, colour me confused, because I am shocked.
Well, if I said this to you, if I offered you some science that you could repeat for yourself, it's a natural observation that water, liquid, will seek its level. It will fill the shape of the container, and the surface will form a horizontal plane, so equal height, elevation in every direction. That's my experience of observed reality. Now I can make a prediction based on that observation, and I can test it. Then I can put it into practical use. So then I can build a dam or a canal or a swimming pool, or I can level, any construction that I want to level. So there's a substance that for me defies this depiction of this spherical image, because a body of water cannot convex in any way, shape or form.
But I mean, when you put a water droplet on something, that water droplet is rounded, right? So why does that water droplet not just totally...
That's due to surface tension, and it only happens at a very minuscule scale. So you'll get a meniscus in the diameter of a tube, say, an inch and a half. Anything beyond that breaks down. The liquid will start to display these characteristics of taking the shape of the container and the surface equilibrating to form a horizontal plane. Now that's scientific, that's measured, that's repeated and applied, but the image that shows and defies it, and they have an explanation as to how it can possibly be, but that's no scientific for me. That's an explanation backed up by an image, is no scientific measurable proof.
I mean, fair enough. You've got the arguments down. I'm not overly convinced. I don't know why. I guess it's probably because I have been socially conditioned, but who knows?
So was I.
I mean, crazy times.
Exactly.
The earth is flat, people. There we are. Cut that. Use that for
No, I'm not going to cut this. I'm just going to show you in all your glory, because you've been an absolute pleasure, my man.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
So mainly it was just to catch the reasoning processes. So you would agree that you take it on faith through your education and what you see on the TV. You've never really critically analysed it yourself.
I mean, I've watched a couple of YouTube videos late at night going into a conspiracy theory on Earth. I mean, haven't we all been there at 3 o'clock in the morning?
But real science, this is the thing about conspiracy theories. This one for me is in the hands of you and I. This is about science, so I can make a claim and I can present that claim to you. You can then verify or falsify that claim. So it's different from 9/11 or some JFK assassination, because me and you would never be there. We can't go back in time to be there to analyse the real contents. But right now, in your direct reality, can.
Can we ever see the Earth from so far away that we'd be able to tell if it's one thing or the other?
Well, but why would you want to just see it? The engineering applications utilise Euclidean plane principles. So Euclidean plane principles are axiomatic assumptions made about reality and the starting point of what we're applying to, like, construction, navigation. Now they're planar. They don't concern themselves with a curved surface. So if that's what we're applying in reality, where's the curve?
Well, I mean, God only knows. As I said before, I am no way a physicist, but I mean, I think it's interesting. Who knows? I think there's a like, we do assume that it's spherical, and is that necessarily true? Who knows? I mean, it could be.
But
whilst I certainly think it does have a bit of curvature, it could be a totally different shape from what we're used to. Because who really knows?
Because you've just taken it on faith, haven't you? You've never really investigated properly. And that's what I want to capture, because that for me is the mind state of the majority. They're believing these things and they don't understand why they believe them until they're actually questioned on it. And I just want to make that realisation with people. Look, take a look at it, have a think about it, because for somebody like me it is hugely important. If there's more to this reality, there's maybe more out there, I would like to know about it, rather than being kept in ignorance,
Just questioning those societal norms.
Exactly. Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. You have a fantastic day, buddy. Alright, cheers, my man.